Imagine you've been deceived by a careless developer, built the wrong thing, not as promised, and with delays, or they built it but unilaterally decided that they don't have to pay you the guaranteed income. Don't worry, the Thai judicial system is on your side. However, few people know how it works and what steps you will need to go through. And is it really possible to get what's yours back, or is it easier to just give up and forget about it? So is it true about the judicial system in Thailand, or can you really get it back? I have two pieces of news for you. One good, one bad. I'll start with the good news. You can get it back, although with some caveats. The bad news is that it will take a lot of time and require additional investment. But if you're really serious about holding these jerks accountable so they think twice next time, here's a guide on how to do it. Don't wait for the defendant to go bankrupt and stop responding to emails. As soon as the delay in delivery exceeds a year, or what you consider a reasonable time frame. By the way, having a contract gives you a reason to sue for your money along with compensation. Remember that in Thailand, payments to creditors are made as cases are won. The early bird gets the worm. So make sure you're among the first. Keep an eye on the communication and evaluate it critically. Delays in responses are more than a few days. Generic replies, nonsense in messages from the developer's staff, aggressive and rude response styles, generous new promises. These are all parts of the same dynamo pattern. Remember the rule: 3 times is an accident, 2 times is a tendency, and 3 times is a pattern. Send your claims via email, keep track of dates and specific complaints, and gather evidence. Find decent local lawyers. If you can't find one, ask your friends to recommend someone, or as a last resort, ask me. Do your due diligence to understand if the defendant has anything to take. Real estate without liens is the best option. If there's nothing, there's a good chance there won't be anything in the future. Negotiate. Before filing a lawsuit, try to resolve things peacefully and out of court. There will be no turning back once the exacerbation begins. Be decisive but reasonable. Avoid going to court if there's a chance to simply get your money back, even if it's without compensation. Believe me, this is by no means the worst option. Attention! Don't agree to a payment plan under a new one-page contract. 99% that this is a legal trick to annul the penalties. And actually, the entire previous contract. Send an official complaint by mail. Record the results of the negotiations in English. And even better in Thai, calculate the court's economics. Legal costs can't be passed to defendant. Compensation is 7% yearly for delays. Lawyer's fee may not cover first court. You can only count on compensation at a rate of 7% per year for each year of delay. Fees may not cover all extra costs if defendant acts. Lawyers take a cut. If the defendant decides to defend themselves, file appeals, or demand hearings in other courts, you need to be prepared for additional expenses. Almost all lawyers take a percentage of the winnings. From 10 to 30%, they often inform you about this at the moment when the case is handed over to the bailiffs. By the way, bailiffs don't work for free either. They take a percentage of the amount from the seized property. You want motivate bailiffs quickly. Relax. You need to grease the bailiffs as soon as possible so they have the motivation to quickly seize the defendant's property and put it up for auction. Auctions operate for each lot, with 6 auctions scheduled within a range of 2 weeks to a month between them. Most lots at a reasonable price are sold by the 3rd to 5th auction. Next, the money is transferred to the court after deducting all fees. If the amount is not enough, it may be necessary to seize other property from the defendant, and that means more expenses and more time. Now, for the most interesting part. How long does the proceedings last? It's impossible to give exact dates, since there are no regulations on the review process, and the intervals between hearings can range from a month to a year. In practice, it averages from 1.5 to 5 years. My conclusion? It is possible to sue and receive compensation, but it is important to understand what assets can be seized and whether the economics of the court are justified. I hope you never find yourself in a Thai court. It's better to calmly sip a coconut on the beach. This was Sergei Shaliapin, Channel Thais Portuguese. Bye.